Becky Gannon, and I'm mad about miniatures. Today's guest is miniaturist Hannah Lemon. I first became aware of her when she won the Canadian show Best in Miniature, Season 2. I had her on the podcast then, and I'm so happy to have her back today to talk about another TV show she's on, The Marvelous Miniature Workshop. One more note before we talk to Hannah. Hannah and I talk about mini school or guild school on the podcast, which is where we met each other. For those unfamiliar with the school, its full name is the International Guild of Miniature Artisans, or IGMA School. You can Google IGMA to learn more or listen to my podcast entitled The World-Renowned Miniature Guild School. Now let's go talk to Hannah. Hello, Hannah. I'm so glad to have you on the show today.
Hi, Becky. Thank you so much for having me back. It's an absolute pleasure.
I'm so excited to have you back and with a new show.
I know. It is really, really exciting. I feel like we spoke about a different show last time when we were doing the podcast together. And a lot of things have happened since, and I've got a really sweet show in the UK this time.
Yes, you won Best in Miniature, Season 2. And all kinds of things have happened since then, including that I've seen you at Guild School Camp a couple times. And now you have this great, amazing show called The Marvelous Miniature Workshop.
That's right. This show is quite different from the last show that I was on, which was a competition base. This one is not a competition. It's very heartwarming and emotional. I think it's a lovely thing that we've done. I think it highlights the uniqueness of each miniaturist. It's just like showcasing what the miniature can do to bring back someone's memory back to life.
Yeah, so the concept is several miniaturists and each one has one episode, correct?
So each of us have got 2 episodes.
Oh.
Meaning there are 2 projects that we had to do.
And the projects are to recreate a place that has a strong memory for an individual they picked to be on the show.
That's right. As a miniaturist, we're quite different. So some of us created the whole entire building, and some of us created like an interior of the place that they really have a fond memory of. Quite a personal project, I would say.
I love that. And how did they pick these people?
So I think they did the casting and looked into buildings that it doesn't exist anymore or needs restoring. I think they did a lot of research and then found those people that needed a story to be shared.
Wow. So tell us about your first project with them, your first episode.
So my first episode was a library. It's in Manchester in the UK. This building actually is still standing, but just about. It's being left abandoned, and there are trees growing from the ceiling. There's lots of windows broken. The roof has collapsed. Yeah, it hasn't been in use for many, many years. It's actually really sad and upsetting to see a building that you could see that building has amazing architecture and decorations. Yeah, it's really, really sad. And it's about this building. It used to be a library, and it's about the love story of this person who used to go to this library who met her husband to be. That was my subject. That was my story. And that was the project that I have to do to make the miniature of the interior of the library.
So can you tell me a little more about their love story?
So this lady, she used to go to this library a lot. It was like a community library. She went there after school or like on Sundays to do some studying. This was in 1970s, I believe. So she met this lovely young boy who basically was using the library as well and fell in love with each other, got married and had a life together. So for her, this library is where all her lovely things began. She read so many books. She reckons she read all the books that was in the library.
I love that.
You know, there were no phones at that time, so no social media, no computer games. So, you know, people went to the library to learn about new things and to socialize.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, libraries were like that until pretty recently.
Exactly. I don't personally go to the library anymore, but I still remember as a child going to the community library was one of the fun thing to do. I remember grabbing a book about miniatures when I was little. I was quite fascinated about, all the photographs of miniatures that people made.
Oh, I remember have so many library memories from college, from law school, from taking my kids to story time every week. So now what is the name of this woman?
So her name is Leah, and she is now a widower. So her husband sadly passed away a few years ago. I think she's still struggling that he is not around. They were married for a long, long time.
And so this is her way of capturing a happy memory when they were just starting out.
This library was a very important place in her life. It was very upsetting for her when the building shut down and it became a abandoned building. And in the UK, we call this amazing building with lovely architecture grade two. I think they're called grade two buildings, which is like it had to be protected. I don't know what happened, but it wasn't protected when it shut down. So it's still there, but you can't access it. It's all sort of rotting away.
So did you have pictures of what it used to look like to recreate?
We found some black and white photos. Leah had also brought some black and white photos of this library. Most of them were shot from outside, as in it was all the exterior of the library, because it's stunning. It's stunning to look at it from the outside. But there wasn't many internal pictures. And if you think about it, I mean, who would bring a camera and take photos of inside of the library when you went there to read?
Well, my first thought was you would do it for the website, but there was no website.
No website. No. That's the thing. We found a architectural, like a floor plans, which was recorded when it was built. So we had that, but not so much inside details. So we knew there was a stained glass window, but then we didn't know what the bookshelves looked like. We didn't know what color the wall was. Yeah, so it was a very difficult project at start. It was just lacking all those details. I specialize in making, miniatures of items, and I love doing internal work of miniature models. And other two miniaturists, Lee and Ethan, they are an expert of making the external architectural of the buildings. I really wanted to do the inside, so not having a lot of details about inside was really tricky.
I bet. And it's so long ago, she probably didn't remember, what the tables or the bookshelves look like.
Yes. So we then did a further research. Eventually, the show will reveal that the historian managed to find a colorful photography of the inside of the library, but not part of the library that wanted to make.
Of course, that's too easy.
You will see if you watch it. I created the room inside of the library that has got a stained glass window and the bookshelves and chairs. That was the front part of the library, whereas the colorful photography focused on the back of that room. So I didn't know what color the wall was around stained glass window, for example. But at least I got some information about what color the bookshelves were and what sort of design it was. And I don't know what you would imagine library from 60s or 70s. I thought they are going to look quite dark and moody even. Not so many cheerful, colorful colors. But what we found out was that they were all painted quite bright colors.
Yes, I was going to say, I think actually they went crazy in the 70s.
Yeah, which I didn't know that. So I was so blessed with this colorful photo. It's just one photo. But together with what Leah remembers, she said that the wall was yellow. And then I have this colorful photography of the back of the library. I combined those two informations, and basically made it happen.
You must have made tons of mini books.
So many books. Oh my goodness. I knew that was going to happen when I was told that I'm making a library. But what I really didn't want to do was to make a pretend stack of books. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to have a bookshelf done and then put like a piece of wood in it and make a marking so that looks like there are lots of books. So what I didn't want to do was to make a shortcut. I wanted to make individual books. Not all of them opened, but they're all individually like covered with like tapes and book covers.
Right, because otherwise it really does look different.
Yeah, I wanted that 3D effects, and I wanted the kind of messy library stacking. Like, in real life, book covers are all made of different textured papers, different colors, different style.
And in a library, they're not done by size or anything. So you have big ones, small ones, some are pushed all the way in, some aren't.
Exactly. And that makes the, unique and more realistic, right?
Absolutely.
I think if, imagine those times where everyone went to the library, I can imagine it's a bit chaotic. So I really wanted to do that. And to do that, I decided, okay, well, I have to make individual books, as in like, not with all the pages inside, but at least it's one.
But with the covering.
Yes.
Did you make some with the pages?
Yeah, I actually made a few of them with pages just so that I've got like a half-open books.
Right.
Yeah, I think that helped because, again, another extra details for people to look at.
And how did you decide, do all the books have titles on them then?
Some of them do, some of them don't. It's all mixtures of like, masking tapes that I have. Some of them I actually painted and designed it. Some of them I actually cut out some old magazines and wrapped the text around so it looks like there's a printed text on it.
It looks exactly like I remember my 70s, 80s library. Remember looking, the bookshelves, they look like someone takes care of them once a day, but not all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got those low shelves that they had in the reading room just right.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear that because obviously I wasn't around in the UK at that time. So
I know, but some of us were around then.
And yes, also what I've learned from doing the research of the library from these times was that maybe the library nowadays do that too, but people went there to read newspapers as well.
And magazines.
See, like these things I didn't know that people used to do. I made a newspaper rack as well, and that also I have to do a research on because newspaper rack from those times were quite different. And you know what? I really enjoyed the research phase of this project.
I imagine, because it was like a mystery.
Yes, it was. It's like a little detective work. Every time I discover something new or when the team discovered something new, we were like, aha, It was really, really satisfying.
That's awesome. Now, is this the first stained glass window you've ever made?
That is the first stained glass windows I ever made.
And did it take a couple tries, or is this literally the first one you've ever made?
You know what? It is the first one I made.
Wow. Only you, Hannah.
I was so worried about this because obviously, yes, we're making miniatures, but this window was actually quite big. Like, I made this library in sort of roughly around 1/24 scale. You would think that, oh, well, the windows are going to be tiny as well, and therefore maybe if I make a mistake, you wouldn't notice because it would be too small. And then this window is like the main thing of this room. It's huge.
How big is it?
Well, I think it's around about 16 centimeters tall.
Wow.
That was quite big. And I was terrified because doing something for the first time on the television, it's like, I've done that before, but I am now a full-time miniaturist. I do this for a living. Whereas when I was on Best in Miniature, I was just doing it as a hobby. So I felt like I had nothing to lose. But this time I was just like, gosh, a lot of people are watching me make a stained glass window. What if I just mess it up? And then it's like the whole library looks like not so good. because of the window. So yeah, it was a challenge.
But it didn't happen. It's very intricate, but it looks fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Obviously, as you know, we can't make miniatures in 10 hours. I mean, I did, but not the whole library.
Of course not. I think that's the first thing people have to learn is it takes a lot of time to make these.
It does. And, when you're making that much amount of books as well. So I like to make everything from scratch. So that it takes time. There's only one of me. I've got two hands. I don't really use a lot of power tools. But yeah, I really hope it come across as if yes, we did spend long hours on this with little sleep, because it was a hard work, a lot of hard work.
I remember that when you came to Guild School last year, I think you had just finished and you had been working a lot of nights. You couldn't really talk about it, but...
Exactly, yes. I remember that the filming just finished. Then a few days later, I had to fly to Castine.
Well, you can relax at mini school.
Did I relax? I don't know.
Mini school is amazing, but for those who haven't been, you're not getting a lot of rest.
No, it's also very overwhelming in terms of you are suddenly with 200 people who does similar things. And, as a hobby or for work, we all speak the same language and we're all willing to share some skills and knowledges. And you just want to be chatting to them all the time, right? So I felt like this year, I just thought about miniatures, talked about miniatures every single day. And that time in particular, when we were filming this show, I didn't sleep much. And, I was still making books 5 minutes before I had to go on set to be filmed.
Oh my gosh. Are they about the size of my little pinky thumbnail, do you think?
Yes.
Well, there's so many of them, and they really are all different. And not only that, but you have them all stacked so creatively. That must have taken a long time to arrange. I mean, I'm looking at hours of work on this, just on the book.
Exactly. And I don't know if you can see it, but they're all double-sided as well, those bookshelves. So
no, get out. Oh, no.
I mean, it's actually, you can't really see from the other side because obviously there are walls. But there are books stuck and, at the back of the bookshelf as well. So it was nuts. And I thought I was going crazy. I was, if I was able to get asleep, I was dreaming about bookmaking. I even got my husband to help me. Can you just put some tape around this little wood? And then he did help a little bit, but he was like, and you've been doing this for 2 weeks? Aren't you going crazy?
Well, and sometimes when I do a lot of repetitive things to miniatures, certain parts of the tips of my fingertips will get overly sensitive.
Yeah. My thumb and my pointy fingers, they were just weird. It was in a weird pain. It wasn't painful, but it was just they were complaining me that, what are you doing to us?
I suppose the cat wasn't up to helping.
She wasn't. Well, she was such a cheerleader.
That's a good life for a cat. I
think so.
Now, I also haven't seen you do light fixtures before, and there's some pretty big, gaudy 1960s, 70s light fixtures on these things.
On the show, you actually don't see the ceilings at all. And the reason was that when we wanted to reveal this finished library to the person who, brought the story to start with, so Leah, we wanted to make sure that she sees the inside straight away when it was lifted off on the cloth. We decided to remove the ceiling and the light fixture because it would have been difficult for her to see everything that was built inside.
Oh, okay.
What you're seeing now is what I photographed after the show so that people can see the actual roof. It looks more proper with the roof on, I think. And it sort of highlights the light coming from the stained glass window.
Oh, yes, the lighting is part of what makes it look so real. Well, it sounds like so much thought was put into not just recreating this memory, but also showing it to them.
Yes, I had some feedbacks about the show recently saying that, I wish that show focused more about making of miniatures. And yes, I agree because, if you're a maker, you want to be learning how to make stuff. And I can see why people think that. But actually, so much of the show was about why are we making it? Why was this building left abandoned? And why is this library so important to this person?
I love that.
Yeah, a lot of focus was also for the history of the library around that time in the UK and her personal story, which was about her love story with her late husband. When you are doing research for these things, you get very emotionally attached to the building and to her life. It's a weird feeling. Again, a very different show to Best in Miniature. But I also did feel the personal attachment to what I was making in Best in Miniature. But with this one, I just really want to make this happen to Leah. Like I wanted to, make her happy. Also, at the same time, to the people who used to go to this library and is sad about the fact that how it was left. So I felt like I had a lot of responsibility. So we basically figured out what is the best way to display it to her.
Yes.
That was thought through. We spent a lot of time working out what's the best way to show it to her.
What was her reaction?
Oh, she was so surprised and very, very happy. I was so pleased about that.
Aww.
Obviously, what you see on the show is her first genuine reaction. There was no acting. There is no fakeness to it.
That's good to know.
It is literally the reaction she had when she first saw it. And obviously, the reaction of me seeing her react. And that was all real as well.
Aww.
It was the first take.
Outside of Leah, you've got to imagine that lots of other people had stories and memories where the library was prominent. Yes,
exactly. You can imagine that, especially those like community buildings, a lot of people had their own stories. And what was nice about it was that one of the viewers have also messaged me and said, I used to go to this library. I also met my wife there. And I think you did an incredible job, bring it back to life.
Aww.
And that was so, so nice. It kind of reminded me how I didn't just make one person happy, but, there are others too. So, yeah, I'm very happy that I did this show. I think it's really nice.
That's wonderful. And yours with the library was the first episode.
Yes. And I also made a hospital ward as well in a different episode.
And what time period did that take place in?
Around a similar time, this hospital in the UK was made for a lot of war veterans. It was orthopedic hospital. So the story was brought by two nurses that used to work there. And they're lifelong friends, but they sort of went in there to start working at this hospital when they were 17. So very, very young.
Wow.
And there was they left home to do that. So they lived together and went through all those hard times.
Well, yes, I can imagine. And how long did they work at that hospital together?
Oh, gosh. I think they worked there like longer than 30 years.
Wow.
They became really good friends and they have lots of memories there. Not only it was a working environment, but because they were living there. And one of them met the husband there and saved a lot of patients and dealt with their families. So a lot went on and they wanted me to make a model of the hospital ward. And then I also, as a surprise, made a nurse's waiting room, a sitting room, which is like where they had the breaks. So I made two models for them so they could share, which was, again, a lot of work.
Right. Were there more pictures and more things to go on than at the library?
So they had some pictures of when they were there. A lot of them were like group photos. Again, photos from outside of the ward. But I also, and the team, did a lot of research about, what sort of interior did this hospital have. I was able to find some colorful images and some images that was taken by a patient or patient's family, pieced it together, and basically, it's like a jigsaw. I basically created this ward based on many imageries. So I found a lot of photos of people. And then what I was really looking at was what's behind them. the curtains, the windows, the color of the wall, they were eating, what was on the carts. Lots of carts with wheels, by the way, in the hospital.
What was the biggest challenge on this particular project?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for this hospital was studying and understanding hospital equipment. There are lots of equipment that changed over the years. So I needed to identify, okay, what was around when they were there? Because when I present the models at the end, and if it's not the equipment that they remember, and remember that, they were working there every single day.
For many years, during which equipment had to have changed.
Yeah, exactly. But also they would have remembered very well. So if I got it wrong, they will notice that. And that will ruin the surprise. Think about wheelchairs. That changed the design so many times over the years. So I was able to ask them like, oh, do you remember what kind of wheelchair, or do you remember what kind of a drip stand you had? That sort of thing. And that was challenging, but it was also very rewarding when I got it right.
Wow. And, usually you make a lot of outside scenes, a lot of natural things with wood, guitars. So making some of this equipment was a really big switch for you.
It was. To be honest, was really worried about this project when I heard that I was making a hospital. I really thought that this was not going to have my style because of what I had to make. I like organic scenery, or lots of greenery.
And lots of wood. And of course, you have more metal, linoleum, things that are easy to clean in the hospital.
Exactly. Lots of modern looking things. And, when you think about hospital, you think of a clinical, bit serious and not so many colors. But again, I learned that hospital around that time in the UK, they allowed flowers in the hospital wards. Like, people can bring flowers to the guests. They had fruits as a gift for the patients. And, the meal they had sounded amazing. The food they used to have there was proper meal.
Wow.
So there were a lot of elements that I thought, I can bring my style into this.
I have no doubt. I haven't seen the hospital picture, but I have no doubt that whatever you do, you'll find a way to put your stamp on it. And I bet I'll be able to find it even on the equipment in the hospital.
I hope so. I really enjoyed this build in the end. I really didn't expect that I would have that kind of feeling, but it was fun because it was different. And I learned so much about hospitals.
And how was the reveal? Were they just thrilled?
You know what? They were so sweet. They were really cute because they're like friends. And when they saw the hospital, they were just like smiling a lot. And they're like, I just want to go back there, I left a few of the beds and like very untidy, like it wasn't tucked neatly under the bed, or I left a mop and a bucket out and it was like, mop had too much water, or those little details. I added it and they were like, we would have been told off if we did that. So brought them back some memories.
That's fantastic. And you know what I love about the show is maybe answer for people the question, I get from people is, why do you make miniatures? And I think this emotional connection is why we do it. Whether it's because of a memory or just something we would like to have or something, there's always an emotional connection to what we build. And I think showing that to people is really valuable in showing that it's art and it's important. And this is just a different way to express that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we wanted to do. I can't speak up of all the miniaturists in the world, but I find that backstories and emotional, side of the miniatures that I'm making very important, because that's a motivation for me to do a good work.
Absolutely.
Especially for this show, we wanted to have some personalities into this build. So that's why the historical research and, interviewing the contributors with their personal stories was so important because it helped us and the whole show to then appreciate what we had to do to make that happen. And the reveal at the end became so important. It's like a climax almost of the show. I think we needed that motivation, that emotional story, the historical facts for the show to be extra special.
Absolutely. Now, one question that came to my mind was, did you actually get to meet the other miniaturists, or were you all just doing things separately?
We got together a few times during the production. I think we managed to be in the workshop 1 or 2 days, all of us together.
So who were the other miniaturists that were on the show?
So there are 4 miniaturists, and so other than me, there were Abby, Lee, Ethan. Abby is well known as Tobacco and Regrets. She does a shows in the US as well. And Lee, whose Instagram handle name is LNR Models. He specializes in a lot of like train sets and like models, like a diorama models. He's fantastic at creating replica buildings. And then Ethan from Mon Studio, he also does the similar things, but he also does a lot of like a film sets and TV sets. He loves creating, movie world. So there are 4 of us doing the show. We are all very different. We've got different styles. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about this show, that they highlights our uniqueness.
Yes, I can't wait to see it all. I'm very excited. Wow, so that's been a big part of your life for the last year or so.
I heard about this show first in September 2024. And then there was a lot of waiting to find out if the show's going ahead, and then to find out if I have been casted. Then obviously a lot of research phase, and then start making the models, then to film, and then to edit. I was also involved in making the title sequence of the show. So they asked me to make a model of the workshop that we were working in. For me, that was a whole year worth of work. It was really, really fun, but not being able to talk about it to anyone was very difficult. It was a long time. A few seasons passed, and I also had a lot of other jobs lined up. Trying to juggle all the projects together at the same time was really tricky. And obviously, to make something on the television show, I want to do a good job.
Yes, because not only does everyone see it, but they get really close on that camera.
Exactly. I would say that, if I had more time working on those 2 projects, the library and the hospital, I would have done a much better work. It's not the best of the best of what I've done.
Poo. I'm not going to let you finish that. None of that.
But I just hope that people understand that it takes time to make miniatures.
Well, obviously, when you're making, thousands of mini books separately with little pieces of tape, I think it doesn't take a genius to realize that's time consuming. But what strikes me is you said you couldn't tell anyone about it. Looking over your Instagram for the past year and a half, if I would never have known you were working on a project that big, because I think you had one of your biggest commercial years too, working on other projects.
Yes, that's correct. I was very blessed. I was so blessed to have a lot of opportunities to work with a lot of brands this year.
I'm also thankful for you being able to work on some of the things you love best with their nature. So you got to work on some project for the National Trust. Tell us a little bit about what that is, for those of us in America who don't know, and what you made.
So the National Trust is basically a conservation charity dedicated to preserving the UK's historic places and natural landscapes. So a lot of beautiful parks, forests, gardens are often protected by National Trust. And they contacted me a few years ago to ask if we wanted to collaborate. And they asked me to make basically a really naturey landscape with some bunnies.
I love that.
In miniature. To celebrate their Easter campaign. So every year they will do like a Easter trail egg hunts across the parks and gardens they've got so that the family can visit, spend the day there, so that they get to be in nature, doing all the fun things. It's really, really lovely. Basically, they asked me to make a stop motion animation with those bunnies, visiting all those like different parts of the gardens. So I made a field with daffodils. I made a forest with big tree. Made a field of like wildflowers with butterflies flying around. Yeah, I'm very happy with what I've done for that campaign.
Were you like, yay, I get to make plants. I'm back in my comfort zone.
Exactly. It makes me happy to work with the element that I'm used to.
Of course.
Yeah, so that was a lovely project that basically took the first few months of the year. While I was patiently waiting to hear from the television show.
Wow. Now, I also saw a really cool project, although it looks like a personal project, that you honored one of your aunts who did something really unique.
Yes. So my great aunt, whose name is Etta Lemon, so I'm Hannah Lemon, she was a founding member of ISPB, which is again a charity organization. So ISPB stands for the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. So it's a British charity. It's focusing on conserving birds and its habitats. So again, really lovely organization. So my aunt Etta Lemon, she founded this organization with a couple of other women. I knew about her. There has been a book about her. I was aware that she did that. But one of the exhibition that happened in the UK this year contacted me, organizer of the exhibition contacted me to say, hey, we are making an exhibition to celebrate her. Would you like to contribute and make something miniature to, honor what she's done?
When was the society started?
ISPB was founded in 1889.
Wow.
And it was originally started from back in the day, people used native birds' body and feathers for their beautiful hats. Mm-hmm. Like Victorian people had a lot of beautiful hats made out of, wild birds. So it originally started to stop the trade with the wild birds' plumage. That's how it started. When it came to making something for this exhibition and to represent what she's done, I decided to make a millinery, and you can see some posters and signs at the front so that, you could imagine that maybe she was protesting.
Protesting having a whole bird on your head.
Exactly, which is quite crazy if you think about it. But
it is insane, but that's what they did.
Yeah, well, some birds were farmed for that reason. But then what she really wanted to stop was people going into the woodlands and kill the wild birds just for that reason.
What a brave and far-sighted woman she was.
She was. I think it was really lovely that this exhibition wanted to honor her. I'm very happy that I took part in it.
It worked out perfectly. Now, I also saw a picture of you creating miniature thistle, which looked impossible, by the way. And that was for Strathberry, correct? You did purses and meadows?
Yes.
Purses in meadows?
Again, it was a lovely project from this luxury brand called Strathberry. They are based in Edinburgh, which is in Scotland. They wanted me to create a autumnal Scottish Highlands theme.
Ooh.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful landscape. And I was so excited to do this because autumn is my favorite season. It's also my birthday season. They wanted a stag and thistle and bugpipe, shortbread, and their bag made in miniature.
Oh my gosh. That sounds so amazing. And you have pictures of all this on your Instagram, and I'll put up some pictures too when this comes. Making the thistle must have been really hard because it's so tiny anyway.
Yes, and also, I didn't know this until I really studied this plant. It's so spiky. It's got lots of, what do you call it, thorns? like roses.
Right.
The flowers are also like, it's got lots of thin petals. So when I looked at it, because I kind of went into doing research thinking, I'm going to be making this out of clay, like I normally do with when I make plants. But when I looked at it, I was like, wow, like it's got so much details.
Did you make it out of paper or clay?
I first tested it with paper, and then I was like, oh, actually, it's not quite right. It just didn't have that Hannah style.
Right.
It's weird saying it, but like it just didn't feel like my work. So I went back to clay again and I developed some techniques, and I think it turned out much, much better than how I would have, if I did it just in paper.
And what kind of clay do you use?
I use this clay. I think it translates as resin clay. It's a Japanese clay, and I love using Japanese clay because it's got so many different kinds of clay out there, and they're perfect for making very thin, detailed clay work. And I use that so that I can really make the clay thin for the leaves and petals.
Do you have a favorite glue?
I also have a favorite glue from Japan. It's like I'm promoting Japan. But it is true. Like I get all my glue and clay from Japan, and it's similar to PVA, but very fast at drying. It's got a really thin nozzle, so it's perfect for miniature making. And I've been telling my miniature friends, try this glue, and they all love it. So
What's the name of it?
so it's called Acrylic.
Can you spell that?
I can say that it's the company called Aruteco, and it's Alteco, and they make them.
I'll put the link on my Instagram page so it'll be easier for people. Because people always ask.
Yes, glue conversation, like the first episode that we've done together.
Exactly.
We all want to know what glue we use.
Yes, I routinely tell people who are like, how do you meet people at guild school? I'm like, well, you just sit down at a table, and if everyone's silent, you just start asking about what glue they use.
Oh my gosh, it is the best.
Guaranteed to start conversation.
Yeah, we all want to know, right? I'm also curious because I use this glue because it was recommended by my Japanese miniaturist friend, and I can't really try anything else because it's so good. I since then recommended to a few of my friends in casting, and then I think one of them is in Japan now at this moment buying this glue. It's important in miniature making, isn't it, to have a good glue?
It is. I think the materials do make a difference.
It does. And going back to making the thistle again, gluing those tiny leaves and tiny spiky things and petals. Oh gosh, it was a nightmare, but having good glue helps. So yeah, I highly recommend.
So speaking of plants, last time I talked to you, you said you had about 60 houseplants. And I've been watching your Instagram, and what I want to know is, do you have a lot more now? Because I think you do.
Well, are you counting the miniatures one or the
real ones? I would imagine if I counted the miniature ones, we'd be up in the hundreds.
Exactly. Oh, easily, yes. I am still obsessed with plants. Now that I have moved out of London with my now husband, we bought a little house. So I can focus on outdoor gardening as well. My focus is actually being outside plants at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Houseplants are also great. They're very happy here. But I have actually not bought any more since, 2 years ago maybe, since we moved.
Well, I can understand that because you have a garden now.
I have a garden. I decided that I will make a pond, and we did that. We dug the ground, and now we've got a pond. And that's something that I make in miniature as well.
Do you have koi in your pond?
No.
Not a good temperature for them in the winter.
Exactly. No, I thought about it.
No, I remember when I first got my first garden, our first house, you just get so excited about it.
Yes, it is really nice. The reason why we moved is because it's because of my fault, really, because I decided to do miniatures full time, and, making miniatures, it doesn't look like it needs a lot of space, but we do, we have all the real size tools, and materials. So I have a room now dedicated for miniature making. It's lovely. And that's where all the houseplants are as well, because I've got the brightest room in the
That is
house.
great news because I recently re-listened to the podcast you and I did, and you said that sometimes you had to eat dinner on the floor with your husband because the dining room table was so full of miniatures.
That hasn't changed really.
Oh, okay.
Because yes, I do have a room where I make miniatures, but when I do a stop motion videos or when I do a proper filming done, I then again take over the dining room and use the dining table to do that. So we still eat meals on the floor, sadly.
Well, I think you tend to take up the room you have.
If there's room, we take over, don't we?
Right, right. I mean, why wouldn't we, right? So what are your goals for the next year? Or what do you want to do that you haven't done?
Well, there are so many things I still want to do. This year was so lovely with lots of commercial projects, but I also do want to do some personal project now and then so that I can create something that I really like. I want to challenge myself to do more difficult projects. I like a challenge. I'm just always wanted to be learning. So, I want to work with the bigger brands if I can. There are lots of things that miniaturists can do, I feel, in the world. Now that the crafts and miniature making has got more attention than usual. Now with this TV show coming out, maybe there are more. I want to do some tutorial videos. If I can, I want to teach people. So, I have some opportunities lined up for next year, which I can't talk so much about. But yeah, there's a lot of exciting projects happening. It's all very different. So I like that sort of mix.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I forgot to ask you did you do a cruise ship project too?
One of the biggest cruise ship company have contacted me to say, "Oh, could you make one of the room in one of the latest cruise ship that we are
Ooh.
launching?" Honestly, this was like very, very luxurious, beautiful place, like beautiful, beautiful cruise ship, and it's all very bling bling. And I was like, "Oh yeah!" Like took this challenge and. It was a very difficult project. Probably the hardest thing I've done this year was to make this room inside of a cruise ship.
Really? What made it so difficult?
It made it difficult because a lot of things were reflective and a lot of things were transparent. Like there were lots of glass fence, glass like windows, lots of mirrors, lots of sparkly things. I made this spiral staircase and this was basically replica of what they've got in the real cruise ship. And this company is very well known for their Swarovski crystal staircases. So each steps of the staircase have got like lots of crystals inside. So imagine making each step and trying to make this sparkly, beautiful looking staircase was so challenging. And no one has done it before. I've done the research. Anyone done this before? There's no one. And I have to invent my own ways of doing it.
Were you able to get smaller Swarovski crystals?
I couldn't. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I couldn't. So
Because they're so distinctive. So how did you do that?
So basically, I got some materials from a shop that specializes in nail technician like stuff.
Oh.
So you know how people in Japan and also all over the world, like when they do beautiful nail art.
Yes, and they have little gems.
Yes, a lot of little gems and little crystals that they put on the nails. And I thought the scale of these things are perfect because the model that I was making was smaller than 1/12. I basically needed a very tiny sparkly things, but good quality stuff so that, when it's all coming together, I didn't want it to look tacky.
Right.
So I decided that I will make this steps with like a mirror board, had like got the reflective surface, and then used resin glue to place these crystals on the staircase and then covered it with a perspex. Yeah, anyway, I could go on and on about it, but like there were so many steps. Well, ironically, steps involved in making the steps.
Did you have to place each crystal with the tweezer?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God.
You had to be evenly placed, so I couldn't just I sprinkled it on the top first, and then I positioned them in the nice so that it's even. Then cured it with resin and UV light. That took a long, long time. It was the most stressful thing that I had to do, I think.
Oh my gosh.
I had a very busy year, yeah.
Well, I'm just so happy to see that you have made such an incredible career out of this. I mean, it's just so great to see someone with talent being able to do what she loves.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. I honestly, when I decided to do miniature making for full time and, miniature making for living, it was just part of me that was really worried that this lovely hobby that I adore so much in my life might become like a job, and I start hating it because it's a job. But so far, all the challenges I got, obviously I have some hard times. There are some, difficult challenges. Time management is always an issue. And I sometimes wish that there were, 10 people that would help me. I still love it. So it's a blessing that I could feel like that about my job. It's even what's even more special about this is that I get to share it with people online, and I can get to show what I've done. And now the TV show coming out. So, yeah, I'm very, very happy. I just want to thank that, people who have supported me from the beginning. It's just incredible that I couldn't do this on my own. So it's just all the support and the community. Community was so important. The miniature community, I mean.
Oh, yes. The miniature community is fabulous. And it just makes my heart happy that that things have gone so well for you and that you're able to continue to grow and make a living doing this, bringing all this beautiful art to life.
Yes. And I think it is nice that a lot of brands and, organizations like charity organizations, they see miniaturists and see their work and then thought, oh, this is a cool way of promoting my service. Or it is nice that we can be useful.
Yes.
It's not just about me and making me happy. I'm happy that I can be useful in my own way, and people appreciate the craftsmanship. So I'm very happy, and I hope that there are more opportunities like this for other miniaturists as well.
Oh, I hope so too. I really hope so too. And I just love the concept of the show. I can't wait to see it. And, now I've had you on twice. I guess every time you're in a show, you have to come back now.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I really hope that people in other countries are able to watch it in the near future. At this point, I have no idea how we can view them unless you have a VPN. We're just sort of experimenting, I guess, how this show will be received. And then maybe there's another season, who knows? And maybe we'll go somewhere else, who knows? So we'll have to wait and see, I think.
Yes, well, in the meantime, we can see all the beautiful pictures that you put out and all the show promotions and everything to see all the beautiful creations that have come out of it.
Yes, I will be posting a lot about the shows and what I've created. So, yeah, I hope people can enjoy it that way as well.
Well, thanks, Hannah. As always, a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you so much for having me again, and hopefully next time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Goodbye, Hannah.
Bye.
I so enjoyed talking to Hannah, and I hope you did too. And don't forget to go to Mad About Miniatures on Instagram or Facebook if you want links to Hannah's favorite glue and clay. Until next time, remember, there are no rules in your dollhouse except the ones you make for yourself. Goodbye.